Yeah, I don't want to really bore people with, golf stories and things of that nature. I just want to say that there were two guys on our trip that, came in with, handicaps that probably don't really reflect their game. And they would probably argue with me this morning, and I told them that I was going to call them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a gentleman from, a place called Winged Foot and a place called Sleepy Hollow, for all those people out there that know who I'm talking about, goes by the name of Mikey K. I will not say his last name, but they all know who he is because they know him very well from the 19th hole at these local establishments.
Okay.
And Mikey K just came in and tore it up, man. He tore it up.
Sort of like Aaron Rodgers is saying, the handicap number's a little fudged.
Yeah, you got to wonder about that. He comes in with an 11 handicap, and he's striping the ball right down the middle, up and down, and down. Plays a lot of golf down in Florida. What can I tell you? But, Mikey K, won some do-re-mi, a former backup quarterback and a kid that I play with down in Maryland. Stan Stosh, we used to call him Stosh. I will not say his last name either. He showed up with a 10 and was telling me, and this is when you know that you have to really worry about the guys you're playing against. Yeah. And you'll learn this as you start playing more and more and more. Is that when they start telling you how bad that they have played like the previous couple weeks, oh, man, oh, God damn it.
It's okay.
I shot 100, man. And I broke 95 7 times and everything else. And next thing you know, he's striping the ball down the middle and dropping birdies on me. So, yeah, I had a lot of birdies dropped on me by my buddies.
Tough.
And they enjoyed it, I think.
Yeah.
So I told them that I was going to take it out on them this morning from time to time. So Mikey K, I guarantee you Mikey K is sleeping right now. I guarantee you Stosh is sleeping right now. I guarantee you they're all sleeping right now. I'm not because I'm here, because I'm excited because this is the week that the NFL really starts percolating.
Yep.
And I know we're going to talk about the Knicks because last night that Knick game got me through a flight from hell from the DR. But I will say that this now is when we should start getting answers as to where people are going to land, what the hell Aaron Rodgers is going to do, what the Jets are going to do for their quarterback situation, what are the Saints going to do, what are the Panthers going to do. There are a lot of different things that need to be, kind of like wrapped up here relatively quickly because March 15th, that's when the league year starts. And that's when teams and free agency and everything else is going to be going bonkers.
Well, it's actually going to start prior to that, right? Because isn't March 13th the tampering period, which is technically free agency opening because all they do is just change the language and they say they will agree on terms or come to an agreement. It's not official until the league year starts, but it'll really be Monday. That's Monday, right? March 13th, a week from today. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
so a week from today, that's when that stuff's really going to get moving. But that doesn't mean that we don't find out about Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr this week.
I think the Jets are sitting there going, "What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Let's go! Come on, Aaron. Everybody's waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make some sort of decision." And honestly, for the 18 years and the $300 million that the Green Bay Packers have paid him. He owes them an answer. He's got to give them an answer. He's got to say, what do you want to do? Do you want to retire? Do you want to come back? Do you want to go play somewhere else? And like I told you 2 weeks ago, the compensation to acquire Aaron Rodgers is not going to be that difficult. It's not going to be that as much as everybody initially thought. I mean, because, you're getting a 39-year-old quarterback. You don't know how committed he's going to be after at least 1 year. I think next year, wherever he goes, if he does play, he's going to want to go out there and be that MVP type guy. He's not going to want to come in and disappoint people. And certainly if he comes here to New York and he's the Jet quarterback, that's the last thing that he wants to do. He wants to come here and lead the team to the playoffs, kind of like what Tom Brady did for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the other thing, too, is that on March 15th of next week, that's the new league year. That's when that starts. And there's two things that really go on then. You could start signing contracts with free agents. But the other thing that teams could do is they can designate 2 of their contracts as post-June 1st cuts. So we'll know who teams are cutting and then retroactively attaching that June 2nd date to it. And that kind of spreads the money out and helps them navigate the salary cap.
So silly.
So a guy like Ezekiel Elliott for the Cowboys is going to be on that list. He's most likely going to get cut unless somehow he restructures his numbers down and takes less money to stay as a Dallas Cowboy, but that's probably unlikely. But there will be a whole bunch of guys that probably will hit that list as well. So there'll be, and if a team really wants to do right by a guy, they'll make those cuts early. So that guy can get early into free agency and have a number of choices, because teams are going to be moving relatively quickly, as we know. At least that's the history of free agency in the NFL. And then there comes a situation that by 4 o'clock tomorrow, another bunch of decisions.
That's right. So
made.
That's the immediacy of this week. So, yes, next week's going to have a lot of free agency stuff. But this week, one thing we will know is whether or not the Giants are going to franchise tag Daniel Jones or not, because that deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Now, everything that you hear and the combine and everything that came out of the combine, by the way, what I tell you about Anthony Richardson?
You're right.
I said he was going to wow everybody at the combine.
Yeah.
And he absolutely did. He broke records. But anyway, so it doesn't sound like they're close on a deal right now. Now, the reporting might be off from what is actually happening between Daniel Jones' agents and Joe Schoen. However, what it looks like to us is that Daniel Jones' agents are walking him right into the franchise tag. That's what it looks like to me. And why would you want that for your client? Because now he's going to have to go out there and again improve on what he did last year in this essential contract year, and then go for it again at the end of this year. Now, you bet on yourself. We've seen it work before in the NFL. Joe Flacco did it, was a Super Bowl MVP, got a huge deal back with the Ravens many years ago when he was a younger player. But if I'm the agent for Daniel Jones, I wouldn't be throwing out $45, $46, $47 million a year. I try to get him the longest deal possible with the much guaranteed money, because this is a guy who's got a history of injury and could be down and out for 9 weeks next year.
Do you remember what I told you? I thought that they were close on a contract extension. Yeah. And then what happened after that?
It completely fell apart. He changed agents.
He fired his agents.
Right. Yeah.
So there was truth to that. I'm just telling you. And then when a player does what Daniel Jones did, that makes it that much more difficult for the team now to deal with the new agents, because the new agents want to make a splash. But ultimately, for all of us, whatever Daniel's contract is, let's say he does agree to a contract extension, we're all going to look at one number, and that one number is the amount of money that's guaranteed. You could sit here and tell me he's signing a 5-year, $200 million contract. But if you're telling me they're giving him $85 million guarantee, that just tells me that the agency wants the $200 million number out there, like they negotiated this $200 million number. But Daniel Jones is still betting on himself over the next 2 years, because after 2 years, the team can get out from underneath it.
Sure.
I think the Giants want to pay Daniel Jones a certain amount of money for what he did this year. I really do. I think that they want to try to keep it somewhere between $32 to $37 million a year, and they want to spread it out over 5 years, so they can have some flexibility to spend some money in free agency to help get some, weapons around him to ease some of the stress that he had to go through in order to have the year that he had. So I do believe that is the case for the Giants. The question is, what are his agents telling him? Are they telling him, hey, look, you're the quarterback of the New York Giants, and this is the biggest media market in the world, and you should be paid, commensurate with that, and you should be $45 million a year? The Giants would be absolutely insane to give him that kind of money, especially if it has the long-term impact that the agents are going to want it to have on the freaking the salary cap. So I would say it's not good news if they franchise tag him, because that number is a hard number for the salary cap. If they do give him a contract extension, then that number gets cut in half, essentially, by the way that the contract is written.
What I think the agents are telling him and telling the Giants is that the salary cap number is going to go up. So if you pay him something like $35 million over the life of this contract per year, then that's going to look really, really cheap in a couple of years when the number goes way up and guys like Joe Burrow are getting $55 million.
He's not Joe Burrow.
I know he's not.
But here's the other thing.
That's what they're saying.
But he's young enough that he could sign a contract and be like in the same situation as Derek Carr is right now.
Yeah, true.
And Derek Carr was a guy that we all have a healthy amount of respect for. We all like him. Mm-hmm. We all respect him. We all think what went on there in Oakland and Las Vegas had such a profound negative effect on him, and yet he still fought through it and yet was really successful, and they had a crappy defense for years. And even with Devontae Adams, they just couldn't close the game in the fourth quarter. And there's a reason why Josh McDaniels doesn't want him. And that's probably the reason, because of those games that got away from them, that he could not muster enough offense late in games in order to win. But that doesn't mean that he can't be a good player for somebody else like the Jets or the Saints or the Panthers. But, for me, with him and looking at what he's doing, that's where Daniel Jones could be in 4 years from now. Like, he could be the guy that the Giants said, you know what, you've been a good player for us. We liked you. We paid you. But we got to move on.
Yeah,
that could be the case for the Giants 4 years from now, you know, taking a look, depending on how much they pay him and what he's capable of doing through the air, not on the ground.
What I think the teams that are interested in Derek Carr want out of Derek Carr is to be Matthew Stafford, to go from that team where it wasn't working out, he was putting up some numbers, occasionally had a decent season, but then joins a team at this point in his career and is good enough to take a team that is stacked to a Super Bowl championship.
And then get hurt and not play again.
Well,
I don't know, but I'm just...
True, but listen, that worked. You can't say it didn't.
No, it did.
They won a Super Bowl, and if that happened with the Jets, my God. I mean, that would be the biggest story that we've had around here in decades.
Yeah, I don't know if the Jets are as good as the Rams at that point.
They are, but they're building towards that.
And I personally think that, you know, I really do admire Sean McVay. I really do. Yeah. I think he's energy personified. He's the A-type personality that basically allowed Matthew Stafford just to play quarterback. You know, he was the guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so he was the face of that franchise, and then Matthew found the right guy and had a loaded offense. Had a loaded offensive line, wide receivers, everything, and a great defense, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's completely comparable. It's not 100% apples to apples, but the teams that are interested in Carr, that's what they look at. That's the example that they look. Let's get him out of this organization where it wasn't working. We'll put him here. We'll surround him with a great team, and this guy can be good enough to bring us to a Super Bowl.
You know, the interesting person in this whole mix for the Jets and their quarterback situation is really Nathaniel Hackett, what he knows about Aaron Rodgers. They're supposedly really close.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's got to know what's going on, or at least have some inkling as to what Aaron wants to do. I don't necessarily know that he could speak to him personally. That would probably be tampering. That probably would be allowed. But, you know, I think if you're the Packers, you're like, come on, let's move on. Let's figure out what we're doing with Jordan Love. And let's make a deal quickly. I think the moment that Aaron Rodgers says he wants out is the moment that this thing is going to move relatively quickly. And then Aaron Rodgers and his agent are going to have to figure out how to modify his contract. So wherever he goes to play next year, he doesn't dwarf the salary cap into, like, you know, playing with first and second year players. Because that's not what Aaron wants to do at the age of 39. It really can't be about that $59 million guarantee that he has this year. It has to be more in the range of 30 to 35 and try to win with a team that feels like it's ready to win with all they need is that ingredient, and that would be the Jets.
So before you left for the Dominican Republic, you sat here next to me and you said you believed that Aaron Rodgers was going to be a Jet.
I still feel that way.
You still feel that way this morning?
I still feel that way.
Wow. Man. Even after all this time and he's disappeared, he hasn't even gone on the McAfee show.
I kind of feel that way.
Did that podcast after did you hear any of that stuff, by the way?
What's that?
Podcast he did after coming out of the darkness and talked about how his bowel movements were fresh and all of these things.
I am so happy to hear that because I'm all about the bowel movements being fresh. I'm telling you.
I know
you know that. You know how I am.
Yeah.
You know, when I travel, sometimes you get backed up when you travel. Al, has that ever happened to you?
That happens, sure.
That did not happen to me on this trip.
Oh, wow. Great. Metamucil probably,
100%.
Right?
Boom.
That has to be it.
You don't have to take the Metamucil challenge. I'm just telling you to take it. Because it works.
That's a challenge I think I could do.
But so I appreciate. Yeah, I heard that, and I was just thinking, that's good for him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for anybody who has, you know, the positivity of a bowel movement.
Yes, absolutely.
And my man Joe G stopped us right in the middle of a golf round and had to go into like the bathroom at the golf course.
Wow.
And this was not. I mean, like this was out at one of the halfway houses, like the side bathroom. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe go in there and take a tinkle or something like that. You can't be going in there and doing that.
No, not in the middle of
He was in there for
round.
like 12 minutes. I'm like, you're like the human rain delay out here. I mean, we got to get moving. Let's go.
Yeah, too much Parmesan and sopressata on the charcuterie board for Joe G. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Oh, so funny. I mean, really just hilarious. But yeah. And I got to say, that Knick game last night.
And we will hear from Jerry in just a little bit.
Right.
He's going to have the details, and we will talk about it because it was awesome.
I want to talk about it because I have to say, the flight from hell last night from coming back.
Yeah.
The amount of issues that I don't know if it's JetBlue. I don't know if it's ground crews.
It's not
I don't know
just
if
JetBlue. It's everybody.
I don't know if it's the Port Authority. I don't know if it's the passengers. I don't know what. I just sat in my seat for 3.5 hours, didn't move, and thank God that Knick game was on. And the guy, the flight attendant on the plane, just kept interrupting the freaking game.
Oh yeah.
Every time they give you those PA announcements,
stops
it. You got to listen to something. What the hell's going on? I'm like, all right, I know I'm coming to New York. Fine, just shut up and let me watch the game.
Yeah.
And there was a woman, very nice woman, sitting next to me, and she actually got into the game, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she was looking at my screen. She wasn't even paying attention to her screen. And I don't know if she was a Knick fan or not. But the fact of the matter is that for all of us on that freaking plane, having to be diverted to Terminal 4 at JFK after freaking 10 o'clock, getting on a freaking bus, it's freezing outside, and having to go through immigration. What are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, it was like our offense under Richie Kotite, for God's sake, last night.
What happened to Air Cinderella?
Oh, no, he stayed down there.
Oh, okay. All right. Now I get it.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.